Kia ora. I'm coming to you today with a layout for Confessions of a Paper Addict cut file store, and you can find these cut files on Etsy. The one I'm using today is not on Etsy, however, it is the free one that you can only get on the Confessions of a Paper Addict Facebook group. So this month Virginia has very kindly made a series of pandemic COVID related cut files free, and there's more than one. Normally there's just one per month, but this time there's a few of them so that we can document what's currently going on in our world and here in New Zealand as well. So I've got a photo of my mum and I with our masks on because we were flying up to the North Island of New Zealand. We live in the lower South Island, and when we're flying we have to wear masks. So I took a selfie of the two of us just to document this moment, and I'm going to put it together with this COVID cut file where the O is a mask. And so I'm going to back this, and I'm actually using a Close to My Heart collection that was created for the pandemic, and so there's some stickers and some things that go along with this. It came out in 2020, and I think some of it is still available online, so you can pop into I'm not sure if it's quite in the clearance, but it's definitely online only in the stores there. So I'm just going to back the letters here, and so to do that I have glued them down onto the pattern paper, and I'm just sort of cutting around. So I've sort of got the scissors on a bit of an angle so that there's hopefully none of the pattern paper is going to peek out. Now I got this quite cool book library card stamp recently from Close to My Heart, and so I'm going to use this for my journaling. It also comes with a cut file, so I am going to just cut around there, and I'm going to put this through my die cut machine so that I've then got that library card that you can see to the right of the layout. Now I'm just using quite a few pieces of the In This Together collection, which is that COVID collection I was talking to you about before, or mentioned before, and I'm just going to back my photo with a few different layers of this collection. I love these purple hearts, and it really tied in with the colours Mum and I were wearing on this flight, especially Mum. So I'm going to tuck that in behind the COVID cut file, and I'm also going to add the stamp of New Zealand up the top, just to sort of give a little bit of the where it all happened kind of connection to this layout story. And so just working out how to fit that into the page, and where I'm going to be able to fit the other bits and pieces to see the parts of New Zealand where we travelled from and to. So just playing around with a few different positions where this could all work and how it could work together, and just sort of shuffling stuff around. So I'm going to pop that stamp up the top there, and to do that I've got to find a block that works, and I found one, and I'm just going to use the archival black to stamp this up the top. And I'm just turning over my Versamat because it's got a great foam backing, which is awesome for stamping, and pressing that down. Now I do leave a bit of a smudge down at the bottom there, however I am going to cover that up later so you wouldn't even know it was there. So I'm making sure that we can see where the plane went. So we did land in Wellington, which is sort of there at the bottom of the North Island, so I wanted that visible. And so, but I didn't mind covering up the Marlborough Sounds label that's on this stamp because that wasn't relevant to this story. So I've put these layers down, and I am just trying to make sure really carefully that I can place the bits where I need them, and trying to keep this photo reasonably central, sort of as part of that telling that story. So I put it right at the end of the N of Wellington, and now I'm going to slip this library card underneath so that you can just sort of see parts of it and tell that it's a library card. And I'm going to use some foam tape, so this is a thin foam tape that I'm going to back the cut file with, just to lift it off the page a little bit. So I probably should have cut some of this off, but it doesn't take too long. I've sped it up a little bit, the different pieces of foam going on there. I quite like this take because it's got two widths, but it's the same thickness. So sometimes when there's fatter letters or fatter pictures and stuff, I can use the wider pieces, and for normal letters and things I can continue to use the thinner pieces, but it's the same depth of foam, which is quite handy. So just peeling off those pieces. And I love these cut files that also become the titles of my page. It takes another whole step out of the pages, because while it's embellishing it and things, it also has a purpose of being a title. So now I am just going to see what other bits and pieces I can add to add a bit more interest and touch points around. So I found a couple of little masks, and that one says I am smiling. And something I've noticed with wearing masks is that you can't tell if people are smiling or happy, and it really does cover up a lot of the emotion or the expressions that we get used to with each other. So I start playing around with some of these wooden arrows, thinking I would put them on there, but I end up changing my mind, and I do take these out a little bit later. So I've just put that location marker up the top there to show where we sort of ended up, which was we were staying in Papamoa, which is in the Bay of Plenty near Tauranga. So I am now going to add, there's a little aeroplane I found in the map stamp set, and I'm going to add this little aeroplane showing where we sort of, the two airports that we flew out of. So we flew out of Dunedin Airport. I finished school in Queenstown at 3 o'clock on the Friday, had a few bits and pieces to do, but then went straight home and drove to Dunedin, and then Mum and I caught the plane the next morning. It was a very early flight out, and we had a gorgeous sunrise that we were watching through the window on the other side of the plane. We didn't really pick our seats very well, but it was beautiful sunrise, and just being able to see it on the flight was absolutely stunning. So I'm using some acrylic dots here as well after I've curled up these pages, and these are Wildberry, which is the new colour of the year for Close to My Heart, and I just I liked how the colour tied in with this In This Together collection. So you can see there that I'm adding some journaling onto this library card stamp, and the other thing that is in the stamp is there are a whole lot of letters and things, and I do use the dates to stamp on, but you could probably do a lot of what I've written with hand here using some of these stamps in the set. So I'm just adding in my journaling, and I end up having to go into the D as well. I ran out of room for what I had to say. I didn't plan that very well, but that's okay. The story's there, and the moment is sort of documented, which is a big part of why I do what I do. So now I'm looking at the dates that are on this library card stamp, and I'm going to add them just up to the top of the library card. And I had to, wanted to do October 2021, not just 21. So I had to pull out the 20 and the 21 and kind of tie them together when I stamped them. And they do look a little bit separate, but they actually look, I think, pretty good for a library card stamp. And I'm quite happy with the way that worked out. You can see too there that where I had that smudge at the bottom of New Zealand, I covered that up with the sea. So now I'm adding a few more of these Wildberry dots around the page at various points, just to add a little bit more interest. And a lot of it, what's on here already, is very sort of matte or opaque finish. So by adding these in, just adds a little touch of gloss and a little bit more dimension to otherwise, I just wanted that there for that interest point. So I'm also going to pull out some of the other little dots. So these are some silver ones, silver glitter dots. And in a way too, that pink is a little bit of the colour of that sunrise that we watched out the window not long after this flight. And here we have it. Hey, thanks for watching, and if you're interested in this cut file and a few other COVID ones, head into the Confessions of an Addict group on Facebook, and for Virginia's other amazing cut files, head into the Etsy store and look for Confessions of a Paper Addict cut files. Thank you for watching.